Hi guys, Leonie here.
And I'm Brendan.
Brendan is a biodiversity expert, which means he knows all about the different plants and animals that call Duffys Forest home.
Well, it's easy to see all the different plants that are around us here today, but the animals, well, they're much trickier to find. They do leave little traces though, and if you look hard, you can see some of those traces. Let's see what animals we can find today.
Fantastic. Now here's our first animal clue. This is a ringtail possum dray. It's like a nest made out of bits of stringy bark.
Shh. Possums are nocturnal, which means they're only active at night. And there could be one in there asleep right now.
Oops, sorry boss. Possums are mammals, which means they have warm blood and they feed their young milk just like we do. The forest is home to lots of different mammals like sugar gliders, bats, bandicoots and wallabies.
And speaking of wallabies, check this out. I found a wallaby scat, or poo, which is a sign there were some wallabies here just recently.
This pool of water is home to some tadpoles. Tadpoles are baby frogs, and frogs belong to a group called amphibians. Amphibians, when they're young, have gills and breathe underwater, but when they grow up, they have lungs and breathe air, just like us. We call this metamorphosis. These are striped marsh frogs in the making.
Another group of animals that live in the forest are the reptile. Reptiles are ectothermic, which means they can't control their body temperature like us. They have to warm their body in the sun in the morning just to get moving. They're the sunbaking champions of the animal world. The blue-tongued lizard and beautiful diamond python are some of the reptiles that live in Duffys Forest.
The heath monitor is another reptile that makes its home here. It actually lays its eggs inside termite mounds, where the termites inside do all the hard work keeping the eggs safe and warm. Pretty cheeky, hey? The heath monitor is a threatened species, which means it's very rare and needs our protection.
Another threatened species is the powerful owl. This impressive bird is so big, it eats possums for breakfast. Birds are wonderful creatures. Did you know they were descended from dinosaurs? Definitely worth protecting.
But my favourite threatened animal in the forest is the southern brown bandicoot, just like our mate Billy. This is a fresh Bandicoot digging, which means there was one here just last night looking for his dinner. He was after some insects, some fungi or some roots.
Bandicoots make really unusual sounds. It's kind of like a high-pitched squeaking noise. Keep an eye out for these kinds of diggings and listen out for that high-pitched squeaking. You never know, one might have moved into your own backyard.
But not all animals that we find here in Duffys Forest are supposed to be here. All the ones we've seen so far are called native species, which means they came from this area.
However, there are some animals that don't belong. They're called pests, and they've been introduced since the time of European settlement.
Foxes, rabbits, Indian minor birds, dogs and cats all now live in the forest, upsetting the natural balance of the ecosystem and reducing biodiversity. That's the number of different species living in the forest. Through predation and competition for food, they have even caused some native species to be lost forever and become extinct. To stop these pests, council officers are trying to remove them from Duffys Forest, but it's a difficult job.
You can help us too by making sure that your pets don't become pests. Put a bell on your cat's collar to stop them sneaking up on native wildlife and keep them out of the bush as much as possible. Always walk your dog on a leash, especially when you're going bushwalking.
If we all work together, we can protect the native wildlife of Duffys Forest long into the future.